Monaro.
Monaro.
Life is suddenly very Monaro.
Monaro by Holden. Yes, life is suddenly very Monaro. The good life, the young life, Monaro.
The Holden Monaro. Back in 1968, the General Motors brand and their Australian sister company Holden released their first two-door pillarless hardtop coupe called the HK Monaro. The first generation Monaro was announced in July of 1968 and brought a lot of attention to itself. There were three different trim levels: the base, the GTS, and the GTS 327. Starting with the base, it came standard with a 161 cubic inch straight 6, and the GTS came with the more powerful 186 inline 6. Both the base and the GTS models could be options with the Chevrolet 307 cubic inch sourced V8 engine. You were also given the option of the highly upgraded GTS 327 model that came equipped with the Chevy 327 cubic inch V8. Even though the Monaro was an Australian market vehicle, there were many signs that it showed it was a General Motors vehicle, from the styling cues to the similarities of the body lines to even the shape of the Camaro. After the first production year with the HK model ending, then came the minorly refreshed HT model for the 1969 year. With this facelift came new powerhouse options. The Holden GTS 327 became the GTS 350, incorporating a new Chevy 350 cubic inch V8, putting out 300 horsepower. During this run, they now offered an automatic version with a slightly less powerful version of the Chevy 350 V8, as well as a 2-speed Power Glide transmission. Holden during this run not only offered Chevy engines, but now their locally produced 4.2-liter 253 and the 5.0-liter V8 engines were both options. Late in the HT model run, there was a 3-speed locally made transmission added to the options list, although it was not offered on the GTS 350. The HT Monaro can be renowned from the HK by the adoption of plastic grills, which used to be previously metal, 2-section taillights separated by a blacked out panel, a round speedometer instead of strip style, allowing for bringing the tachometer into the main instrument cluster, new rubber front suspension bushings instead of the HK's sintered bronze, and larger taillights where the turn indicators also wrapped around the now slightly undercut edges. The HT Monaro was a huge success, being entered into the Series Production Racing Championships and won. A racing team named the Holden Dealer Team was formed by the Ford Works team boss Harry Firth. The team used the GTS 350 in the competition. In January 1970, Bond and Roberts would win the Rothmans 12-hour series production race at Surfers Paradise driving their HDT Holden Monaro. Norm Beachy upgraded to an HT GTS 350 and would win the 1970 Australian Touring Car Championship, Holden's first ever ATCC championship success. These winnings brought big attention to the Holden brand and the Monaro. The Generation HG Monaro was unveiled on July 26, 1970. This model was the last original generation to obtain the coupe model. The HG had a cleaner design with new trim pieces and ground effects. With the new addition of the trim lines came the new Monaro badging being inputted on the pillars, as well as new girthier GTS badges on the fenders and grille. Almost all of the mechanical aspirations of the HK stayed with the HG generation. The all-new second-generation Monaro was debuted in 1971, designated as the HQ Series. With the new HQ Series came new trim levels, one known as the LS, commonly referred to as the Luxury Sport. With the new LS model came a 3.3-liter inline six. It was not offered in a V8 configuration. Some updated exterior features of the Generation 2 Monaro was the addition of quad headlamps, being two on each side, and the chrome accents around the vehicle. Gone were the inline V6 models of the Monaro for the GTS models, and in came the new V8 powerhouses. It was still offered with the locally made 4.1 and 5.0 liter 308 cubic inch engines, but there was a new addition being the Chevy imported 5.7 liter 350 small block. Until 1973, the HQ Monaro GTS did not have any exterior graphics, and the 5.7 liter 350 cubic inch L48 Chevy V8 was a little less potent than the previous HT-HG versions. This and the fact that the same 350 engine was so obtainable as an option in the large Statesman luxury sedan probably bestowed a downgrade of the Monaro GTS range in muscular car terms. The HJ Monaro was released to the public in October of 1974. This HJ modeled a very hefty facelift, giving this model lots of sportier looks than its predecessors. The engines would stay exactly the same as the previous HQ. The body paintouts were discontinued in the HJ Monaro GTS range, but for the first time, the Monaro could be designated with optional front and rear spoilers. The HJ Monaro LS Coupe is close to being the rarest regular production car ever made in Australia, with only 337 units produced. The HJ Monaro GTS Coupe was discontinued during 1975 due to falling demand. 606 examples of the GTS were made. Overall, the first and second generation Monaros were the new beginning to Holden's success. The Monaro put Holden at one of the top on the list for car producers in Australia. The new Monaro was based on the VT platform released for viewing at the 1998 Australian International Motor Show, which spiked interest within the Australian car community. The third generation of the Monaro was produced from 2001 to 2005. The HSV Coupe saw production through June of 2006, which HSV variants on sale until August of 2006. I will do a separate video coming up on all about the Holden's HSV division. Stay tuned for that. It's going to be a great video. After 24 months of long-awaited development, the Monaro CV6 was released. It came stock with a General Motors 3.8-liter supercharged V6, which at the time was found in many models spanning across American soil. Along with the CV6 was the release of the Monaro CV8. The CV8 featured General Motors 5.7-liter LS1. This 5.7-liter had a game-changing 302 horsepower. The 3.8-liter supercharged CV6 model came to a sad end during the mid-2004 model year due to declining sales. There were 3 versions of the CV released, all gaining a measly 5 to 7 horsepower to each other. Not much changed between these 3 versions. A limited edition model called the CV8R was introduced in July 2003. There were only 350 of them made in total, which were all made in turbine mica gray metallic paint color. A slightly altered version of the CV8R model would appear again in May of 2004 based on the Series 3 CV8. All 320 of them were made in an exclusive pulse red paint color. The Holden Monaro CV8Z was produced to farewell the legendary Monaro name, much like what had been done with the LE Coupe back in the 1976 years. The CV8Z was offered in the same color as the standard CV8, but to highlight the model, a new color was launched called Fusion Orange Gold Metallic, with a unique color-matching fusion and black leather interior. The CV8Z had unique features including a sunroof, modified darkened taillights, signature black bonnet scoop accents, special engraved CV8Z wheels, CV8Z badging throughout the interior, and gunmetal chrome CV8Z badging on the exterior. This marked the end of the Monaro once again, and we still are yet to have it return.
The Last Ride, presented by Pontiac, is brought to you by Pontiac, fuel for the soul.
Fully independent rear suspension, 5.7-liter V8, 346 limited slip, for impressive balance, great agility, crisp handling. Rear-wheel drive is back. The 350 horsepower Pontiac GTO. Fuel for the soul.
In addition to the Holden Monaro being made in Australia, it was also marketed in the United States market as the new generation of the Pontiac GTO. The GTO shared almost every aspect of the Holden Monaro CV8, from the drivetrain to the transmission to even the exterior features. The Pontiac GTO was not produced on American soil. The GTO was an import from Australia that came to the US on a ship. The GTO was modified on the exterior to fit the liking of the American market and the Pontiac brand, but it was assembled and produced in Australia. Unlike the amounts of Monaros made in Australia, there were not many GTOs made in the American market, unfortunately. Due to the recession and what happened with emissions, GM did have high expectations to sell 18,000 units the first year, but the lukewarm reception of this car in the United States curtailed the target. In the 2004 model year, only 15,740 were sold in the US. 2005 model year was 11,000, and the 2006 model year was 14,000. That makes a total of 40,000 cars made in its 3-year run. To wrap up this episode on the OBO Car Show, I wanted to say thank you for watching us, and we truly appreciate it. If you would like to hear more info on the Australian Holden market or other countries' markets, please feel free to shoot me an email in the email in my bio. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.